Hamlet, you wanna be in a video? Come here. Yeah, no, he's not coming. All right, I've been teasing this in the past couple of videos, but today I'm going to try and actually do this video. About 2 weeks ago, almost to the day today, my husband and I adopted a little kitten, and he is all black and he's adorable. He has kind of yellow greenish eyes right now. They might turn one way or the other, I'm not really sure yet. And supposedly he's going to be quite big, according to the vet. And there he is. He's hiding sort of for the camera. Come on, buddy, meet Hamlet. He's clearly very thrilled. Look at the thrilled face. A really common question I keep getting from you guys is how old is he? So right now he is almost 4 months. When we got him a couple weeks ago, about 3.5. So he's quite young and he's quite big for his age. Like I said before, the vet did say that he was probably going to get kind of big. So we're gonna find out exactly how big. A question a lot of you guys have been asking me is, why did I get a cat? And I talked about this a little bit in my Q&A last week, but I kind of wanted to address it a little bit more in this video as well. There's actually a very good reason behind it, and it's not just because, you know, I'm a cat person or something, because I'm not. I did mention that in my last video as well. I grew up with a dog and hamsters, and we had a rabbit, and you know, like, I just love animals, and I don't really have a preference. Being in Paris, living in the city, and living in a fairly small apartment, not having a park, you know, right next door, you know, it's just really hard on a dog. Hey! He literally got behind the couch cushion. Hey, get out of there. We did adopt him. I have quite strong feelings about buying cats and dogs. I'm not really gonna go into details about that in this video just because I feel like that could be a whole, like, other series of videos, really. My goodness, what are you doing? He's just drawing my books. Okay, where were we? Crisis averted, I think. Hey, boy, he's so hyper. Anyway, like I was saying, we did adopt. Okay, so new problem. This bookshelf is obviously a point of interest for him. Anyway, I'm gonna leave some links down in the description box below if you guys are curious why I feel so strongly about adopting. Originally, the plan was to adopt a cat from a shelter, but it ended up being kind of happenstance that a friend of a friend of a friend knew somebody whose cat had gotten pregnant, had a litter of kittens, and they needed to find homes for them. So that's actually where we ended up getting Hamlet from, a family. So we got Hamlet 2 weeks ago. It was a Saturday, and the first day, let's talk about that. It was a bit of an adventure, to be honest. So we had everything that we needed before we went to pick up the cat. You know, we determined the date, and then we ordered everything we possibly needed, went to the store, you know, whatever we needed to do. Litter box, food. As for the food, a very important thing when you have a new cat is that you match the food that they were eating before. You can eventually segue into something else if you don't prefer whatever the people before were feeding them, but it's very important that you don't just change their diet overnight. And especially considering he was a kitten, he lived his entire life in this one place so far. So we already knew there was going to be a lot of change all at once. So we wanted to match the diet as much as we could and then eventually segue into whatever we wanted to do. So anyway, we got the food in advance to try and match what he was eating, and then, you know, whatever we wanted to slowly segue him into. We also got a bunch of toys. We got a cat tree / like jungle gym type of thing. I also bought him a harness and leash because I really would love to harness train him if possible. I know some cats respond really well, others will kind of never let you do it, but I figured if I started him fairly young and, you know, started him just nice and easy, then maybe someday. So we'll see. So far, I try it every day, just kind of putting him in the harness, and he's responding okay to it. Hey, no biting, no biting. He bites a lot. Very gently usually, only when he's playing, or sometimes even when I'm petting him and he's very relaxed, he'll just nip me, and I think it's kind of a show of affection in that case. It's never aggression though, so that's a good temperament sign. Anyway, back to the first day. So we had everything that we needed in advance of getting him, and we also had the carrying case. That's probably the most important thing to mention. We showed up to the house, we chatted for a while with the people, they're very nice, and I petted Hamlet for a while. I think is he behind the cushion? Yes, he is. What a weirdo. Anyway, I petted on him for a while. He was purring. He was completely relaxed. He'd been sleeping, I think, all afternoon. And just so happens that the same day we were picking up Hamlet, somebody else was coming to pick up his sister. The other people put his sister in her carrying case, and she was okay with it. She was a little bit less timid, I think, than Hamlet. But I think that was the moment when Hamlet kind of freaked out because he realized his sister's being put in a cage, and then we were about to put him in a cage. So he flipped out a little bit. I was the one trying to put him in the cage, and I was being so slow and gentle, but as I've learned is sort of Hamlet's way. He sits there for a while, thinks everything's fine, and then just flips out all of a sudden. And he flipped out when I was trying to put him in the cage and ended up gouging 2 big gouges in my hand and a couple other gouges in my other pinky finger. And I started bleeding, and the people had to go get disinfectant, and I had to go rinse my hands, and it was so overwhelming. I was okay. Normally I would freak out in any other situation, but it's kind of like that, I don't know, maternal instinct for my cat, and I just didn't want to freak out for his sake, and I didn't want to freak out for everyone else's sake. 2 weeks later, and you can still see where they are, so I mean, they were deep, but you know, it's not the end of the world. So that did not start off great. It was kind of a difficult trip back. We had kind of not a difficult commute, but it was a bit long. So it was a bit hard on him. And then by the time we got back to our apartment for the very first time, you know, we took him, we put the carrier down. I read that you should leave him a few minutes to kind of get used to the sounds and smells, and then you should open it up and let them come out. So we waited, we were very patient. A few minutes after letting him sit and kind of, you know, chill and understand that, you know, the transport part was done, we opened the cage, and he did not come out. So we waited, you know, we backed up, and a couple minutes later, he did decide to come out, and he slinked across the floor out of the case into one of our little cupboards down here in the very base, and that's where he stayed. It was a really difficult first day, I'm not gonna lie. He was so timid. I was so worried that I was doing something wrong, or that, you know, I wasn't doing enough, maybe. I spent a couple of hours trying to coax the cat out and then giving him a space, and, you know, then trying to talk to him a bit more and pet on him. He would let me pet him the whole time. Over the next few days though, things got much better, really fast actually. He was very flighty and jumpy to every little sound and every little new movement, but it only took a few days really before things started to kind of settle in. He's just a bit shy, I think. He's very affectionate, he loves to cuddle, he loves attention, he loves to play with you. I mean, he'll play by himself, but he really likes when you play with him. He does have a couple of little tendencies that I'm having to work through, and if you guys have any recommendations on these things that have worked for you, I would love to hear them. I have read a lot about it, by the way. If you couldn't tell already, I have read a ton about cats. I also write about cats for my job, for a lot of my job. So needless to say, I've done a ton of research. I would still love to know you guys' input on a couple of things, because it changes so much from cat to cat, and I'd like to know what works for you if you have a cat. But anyway, he chews on wires, and that's frightening. That was kind of one of the things that even before I got any cat, and I was just sort of crossing my fingers, like, if I could just please get a cat who isn't that interested in wires, I can deal with any of the other behavioral things, you know, I can work with that. But wires terrify me because I live on my electronics, and you know, you can't get rid of the wires. If there's a plant that that they're allergic to, or that is toxic to them, you can get rid of the plant, or you can put it in a zone where they will never be able to reach. But wires, what do you do in this day and age? So I was sort of just crossing my fingers, like, please don't get a cat that likes wires. Of course I would get a cat that loves wires. So that's something that we have to work on, and we are working on, because that's obviously extremely serious. He's got to stop doing that, because that's, you know, potentially dangerous. So I'm cracking down on that more than anything else. He also scratches this couch a lot, and I think it has to do with the fabric of the couch. It's a little bit rougher. It's not super soft and spongy like a lot of couches. And I think it, you know, just feels good for his claws. But he has literally, on his cat tree, he has 4 different scratch posts. So he has plenty of scratching posts to be scratching on, and he's actually learning to scratch on them. Every time I'll scratch on the couch, you know, I'll just pick him up, take him over there, put him on a scratching post, and just like, here, this is where you're supposed to be scratching. And it is working, but he still likes to scratch the couch. So I'm not really sure I'm gonna win that battle, to be honest, but we'll see. As far as toys, he has a million and one little things. My family knows me well, and a lot of my Christmas gifts ended up being cat things. I was very happy about that. So he has a million and one little toys. The thing is so spoiled already. Despite the amount of toys that he has to play with, he still loves, more than anything, if you just take a little, like a sticky note or a little piece of paper, roll it up in a ball, and throw it. He loves it. It's really cute. He'll bat it all around, and then sometimes he'll just pick it up as if it's his prey and take it to a little corner and maybe, like, not really chew on it, but, you know, just have it in his paws and, I don't know, feel victorious. He also plays fetch. If you guys didn't see on Instagram, I posted a little video of it, but that is not the only time he's done that. That's not something we taught him in any way. He just brought it to us. We were playing with him, you know, we threw it so he can go and run because he wanted to run. He was really hyper, and then he brought it right back. So yeah, apparently my cat likes to play fetch. I don't know, maybe I did end up getting a dog and I just didn't even know it. Overall though, the first few days were quite difficult. I think I mentioned that on social media already, but now it is just going so much better. and I think he seems to be happy here. He really formed really tight bonds with me and my husband both. He's very affectionate, he's very close, and I hope that as he gets older, I really hope that that sticks around and that he continues to be a very affectionate cat. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this video now because I think I've covered pretty much everything I wanted to cover. If you guys have any questions about, you know, Hamlet or how things are going, anything like that, please do leave those in the comments below. And like I said, if you have a cat and you have any suggestions, like maybe certain games they like to play or certain things that kind of work well with them that maybe I should try for Hamlet, definitely do let me know that in the comments as well. I'm gonna see if I can get him in one last shot. Ooh. He lets me hold him like a baby. This is like the 4th or 5th time that he's let me do this. All right, if you want to see more pictures or videos or anything like that, there are a bunch on Instagram already, and of course, there are gonna be a bunch more. I mean, you know, that's not even spoilers. You guys know that's coming. Say bye. Say bye. You really don't care, do you? Thank you guys all so much for watching, and I will see you soon.